Good afternoon. Today is the 7th of January and it's time for yet another entry in the series of very vague vlogs. I think this is number 20, but I could be wrong. These very vague vlogs are exclusive to second tier channel members, which is called Say It Toledo, and above for about 2 or 3 weeks actually. I think it's closer to 3. But for everyone else it will have been a while since I recorded this. It's just one of the things that we do because we like to give channel members early video access on certain things. This is the day that I'm going to be recording a couple of other videos. One of them will be about the ownership experience after 18 months of our 2019 SsangYongs Tivoli 1.6 Ultimate Manual. That's what I'm in at the moment. And also, we'll be looking at the top 10 best-selling cars of December 2021, which I'll recording after I have this car cleaned. So just on the way to the normal place where I get my cars cleaned, which is in the Chalmers Ford area of Eastleigh. I want to touch on a couple of subjects today. One of them I've talked about before, which would have been during the third lockdown about a year ago, and another one as well, which will become clear as we go along. First thing to say is that it's sometimes quite difficult to get hold of certain cars for review, or like indeed anything for review at times. I'm very blessed that I've just been offered an opportunity to do some filming at a motor museum, so we can do some shambolic shuffles. And also the day before that, I've been offered an opportunity to film some nice old cars, which I know that looking at statistics for December and early January are amongst the most successful content actually on the channel for a little while. It's sometimes difficult to get hold of the right cars that people want to see, and also to arrange to go and film things like museums, because I'm now a commercial channel, it's not a personal channel, so I have to ask special permission to do that. Often museums will let someone who's got a personal channel, particularly a non-monetized one, just go off and do it, but I have to ask permission, and that can be a bit complicated, but ultimately it's better in the long run for me to do that. It just is one of these things where, you know, you put up you know, posts and things, people to offer you cars to film, because that's where the majority of the cars that you see on the channel come from. They come from viewers like you, and you could have asked people to send something again, and you just go for a bit of a drought sometimes, or you know, there are problems with the cars, they're not available for any reason. So a lot of cars don't want to come out in the winter, which is understandable, and you know, some of them are very far away, and if I get offered a car in, say, north of Scotland or something, and just one, it's going to be a bit more difficult for me to get there and justify going there just for that one car than it is for someone who's got a collection of several of them, which is quite close by. And I'm very blessed that last month there was a gentleman by the name of Stuart whose car collection you've mainly seen. There's one more car in that collection that was filmed but hasn't been released yet, and that's not too far away from where I live, and that sort of thing is really handy. It's not to say that I only film things in the area. You know, we went all the way to the northeast to film a big collection that my friend Chris had back in August last year, but it kind of helps. So at the moment I'm sort of putting out feelers and just sort of really just following up people who've offered cars before in the past, that I know are not limited, shall we say, by the sort of weather and things like that. So I'm just asking whether they're sort of available, and this can be a frustrating process sometimes because people are busy a lot of the time, and you know, they're not sort of trying to build channel content like I am, and so, you know, they have other things they're doing, and so it's not really the most important thing for them, which is absolutely fine. But obviously, for point of view of everyone who wants to see certain cars, it can be a very slow process trying to get them sometimes. And, you know, there's been 3 videos I filmed last month up at Langley Prestige in Chelmsford, which is the Golf, the DS3 and the Suzuki Swift Sport, and none of those have done very well. It's very clear from the figures that I'm seeing that just you don't want to see them on the channel, you're just not interested. And that's fine, you know, it sort of helps me to know what to do, but it's a shame when I've kind of had to arrange that specially and someone had to go out of their way to kind of get those cars for me, to then be sort of greeted with figures I've not seen as low for a very long time. And that's just one of the things that happens on YouTube, is some of the videos do well, some of them don't. You don't have a clue what's going to happen really until you actually do it. So, you know, there's no individual kind of person or whatever doing it. It's just, I know that you find some cars more interesting than others. One of the reasons why we don't do so many true accurate reviews is because I've had so many conversations with people saying, oh, we don't really care about the presentation so much, we just want to see the car. And, you know, that's fine. It's just that creatively and artistically, I know we can do better when we do true accurate reviews or anything else. And I really like making those. It's just they cost us a lot of money. And so if the view figures aren't there for something like that, then it's hard to justify actually making them because people just aren't interested. So, you know, we have some people who really love them, principally the people who've been following the channel for a bit longer, because that's what we used to do exclusively. There was no budget review episode until November 2019, no sensible second-hand reviews until October 2020, and no sensible second-hand classics until March 2021. And so the channel was going to be just True Jacket reviews originally, and it was an outlet for me to be able to do sort of what I wanted in that respect, and I'm very glad for the reviews I've had. But because we have to manage the finances carefully, and I'm still nowhere near at all covering the costs on the channel of running it, although channel memberships really help, as to I have the very kind people, there's a couple of them who have been given regularly to the channel via PayPal for over a year now actually, and it really helps out. I've just been able to cover the costs of the hotel for going to the museum literally just through the very kind donations alone, which is amazing. I'm so grateful to them for doing that. And also, the more all of you watch the videos all the way through, I'm not going to see statistics, but that doesn't happen as much as I'd like, but you know, it's up to you. You're all very busy and everything, and there are probably more exciting channels on YouTube you'd probably rather watch than mine. But if you do want to watch the videos and watch them all the way through, then that really helps. It sort of increases my watch time significantly. It, you know, allows me to theoretically actually get a little bit more in terms of revenue. So, you know, I know some of the stuff's not that interesting. It's maybe not what I really prefer, but you know, there is a reason why I try to keep going as much as I can, because you know, I want to be able to keep doing this, and that's really the best way of anybody on a channel to do it, is just to keep going, even if there is a drop off and it is January, and you know, I know that's what happens with a lot of things. So, you know, it's not a criticism of anyone in particular, it's just the way that it goes, and I know that a lot of channels maybe see this as well, and you know, it's pretty normal. But it is sometimes difficult to get hold of cars, and you know, just because maybe someone doesn't think I'm interested in them. I mean, there's obviously some rules about what we feature on the channel, what we don't, but I've left my email address in the description below, and also I've put it at the beginning of this video if you know, if any of you are actually interested in providing something. I mean, particularly because we're based down in Hampshire, that's you know, obviously closer from my point of view, it's better. But I've been all over the place filming cars over the last 12 months, So, you know, if I can put together a list of cars in a certain area and do them all at once, then that's absolutely wonderful, and that's what we'll do. Anyway, that's quite enough of me going on. Sure, a lot of you don't want to hear about this stuff, but this is the reality of running an automotive YouTube channel, and I just wanted to share, first of all, with you members who very kindly support the channel, second tier up, and then a few weeks later to everybody, because I don't believe in hiding things behind a paywall forever. So if you haven't done so already, I'd really appreciate it if you'd subscribe, like this video, leave a comment below. All those really help in terms of showing more people some of the videos, even if this one's not that interesting. And thank you to everybody who has supported the channel in 2021.